As demand for properties in central business districts soars, I'm joined in studio by property expert David Ruby, who's going to speak to us about this very issue. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, there's a very interesting statistic about the Cape Town CBD, and that's in 2012, the total value of apartment sales was 145 million rand. But this year, it's gone up to 249 million rand. Why are we seeing this massive spike?
Well, I think the easy answer is to say that that increase in volume, of money that's actually in the transfer market property-wise is related to the upswing in the property cycle. We have been in almost a property recession for the past since 2008. Obviously, as property starts to recover, people start selling properties again, and we're starting to see that where the number of transfers has increased as well as the overall value of money that's passing through the property market. And I think there's actually two drivers that are pushing that or this recovery in the property market. And one is the investor market, where I think we had a lot of people that came into the market near the end of the cycle, around 2007, 2008, and they bought properties because they thought they could never go down. Properties had been increasing for so long, so they bought these properties hoping to cash in on a rental return and a capital appreciation. But from 2008, the market kind of stabilized and then it decreased. So people couldn't even sell their properties to get out of their investment and recoup their initial capital outlay. So what I think is happening is people have waited up until now. Now that the prices are starting to move, you are seeing them come into the market, those investors, and offloading those properties that they bought all those years ago. The other factor that is driving this recovery is when the market got overheated in 2008, what happens is the price started going down, the banks start pulling finance, and then they're dealing with their bad debts, and they're not reloaning money, which means your first-time buyer or entry-level buyer cannot access finance, cannot buy property. Now that the market is starting to move again, you're seeing buyers coming back into the market to purchase property where for many years they haven't been able to access the finance and they haven't been able to purchase property. All of that is starting to help gain traction in the market and get the market moving again.
Now, the very interesting thing about this is that we're talking specifically about properties being bought and sold in the Cape Town Central Business District. And Cape Town's a very interesting place where it's very sought after to live in the CBD. Why is this not the case, perhaps, in many other parts of the country?
Okay, well, look, I think the factor there in terms of Cape Town and property growth is, it lies in a geographical layout of Cape Town. We have a city that's laid out between a mountain and the sea. Obviously, it extends to Cape Flats and beyond. But when we talk about this particular area, there is only so much land. That in itself just drives up prices. Even from development, new developments, when you're pricing on the sales price of a development, your land cost is always a big driver of what the ultimate price is going to be. So we have a scarcity of land, and that obviously drives the prices. But when talking about Cape Town, in terms of the inner city as well, we look at the massive improvements that we've seen over the past 10 to 15 years, driven by a rejuvenation of this inner city, helped by the convention center, the waterfront, the central improvement district, and it's quite something to see what a group of stakeholders, be it business owners, consumers, property owners, when they all get together and pull in the same direction, what they can achieve. And we've seen that in terms of massive increase in property values and rentals in the lower end of the city, which wasn't there before. I don't think that some of the other CBDs in this country have been as successful in doing what the Cape Town Central Improvement District has achieved.